I'm a mid-20s NEET suddenly finding himself in need of a job. What can I do? Well, you can start by getting a photo ID. Call your local DMV. They offer non-driver identity cards. Call the local Board of Education and see about getting a GED. The Royal Canadian Air Force Exercise Manual is available free online. It's a 15-minute-a-day program that starts out at a level anyone who can walk can achieve. You need to get yourself a photo ID, a social security card and a bus pass. For the first two you will need to find a birth certificate. You probably should get a GED as well, but that will take a little more time. Welcome to this new and exciting chapter of your life. You need to get ID if you want to be hired anywhere. You'll also probably need a birth certificate and a social security card. That is all important for tax filing info at your job. I am extremely obese. Can you walk, stand on your feet for multiple hours at a time? Lift more than 40 pounds? Your options are really just retail or Amazon. Fast food service or retail. Show up. Have a pulse. Don't be late. You'll get hired. The job will suck. Frame yourself as being willing to learn, and even if you lack experience, you therefore have developed no bad work habits, so you are trainable. Definitely get your ID regardless. And social security hash if you're in the US. You'll need both to work and get paid. Yeah, get an ID from the DMV. It's not a driver's license. Get a job working fast food, retail, janitorial, landscaping, construction. Really just Google no degrees entry-level jobs. There's way more options out there than you would think. What is NEET? Lots of good comments here. Not seeing OP's response. A little bit more background information will be helpful for advice. Don't put this opener on your resume. Try for employment with call centers before you try retail or fast food. They're probably going to care less about obesity and unattractiveness. If you have any social anxieties from being shut in, this is better than being dropped into food service where you have to interact with the public. They probably have a script you can read from for most of your calls. You'll probably need to start getting your GED to be employable at all, but I could be wrong. I know some places can hire people that in the process of getting their GED. Security guard. A job where you sit at a station and watch? A great thing about working is it will help your self-esteem and help you meet people. This has to be pretty scary, but you can do it. 1. Get a state-issued ID. Where I live, it's $10 to $15.20. Quit with the unattractive nonsense. Point 3. If you think you are obese, work to undo some of it. Point 4. The only way you get good at talking to people is talking to people. Point 5. Adult education at a local technical college for a GED can be done online if need be. Point 6. Look at your state's Job Corps program. You might get in for free to learn a trade. https www.jobcorps.gov/7. Driver's education. Get a driver's license. Your county provides this. Point 8. Create a routine for every day. Get up at 6:30 a.m. Shower and shave. Put on clean clothes. Go out for a walk and say hi to people. 9. Ask for help. You would be surprised how much people are willing to help if you show you are willing to improve. You've identified the things you view as flaws, so you can start taking action to improve them. You may never have the most attractive genetic qualities, but you can go a long way by improving your physique, your grooming, your skincare, your hygiene, and your clothing. As for skills, start trying to find things that you're genuinely passionate about, or at the very least can tolerate doing. Find out what relevant careers there are in that field. Then start pursuing it by developing your skills, qualifications, and experience. It's a long and difficult road ahead. But the sooner you start, the sooner you can get out of this situation and start enjoying life more. First, you will need to get your proper documentation. Anywhere except for the most casual and exploitative labor is going to require it. Then, you really need to get a GED. That can come later. Though, you are in luck. Though, right now in the US there are a lot of open positions. Since you have no skills, retail, food service, and general labor are good fields to look into. Yeah, they suck. But they are jobs, and right now you need to start building a work history. A work history, or resume, is essential. A lot of places won't consider someone who has never had a job. Any job, before. You are an unknown quantity and they can't be sure if you will show up on time, follow directions, or anything like that. Therefore, you are going to have to take what you can get, at least for the first job. You won't have to stay there for long if you don't want to. But you should at least put in 6 months or so. The best time to look for work is when you already have a job. This demonstrates a lot of qualities that an employer wants, so once you have a job and have put in a little time, your value increases. While you are doing all of this, you need to start working on a marketable skill set. In the US, there is likely a vocational school or community college relatively nearby. Those have numerous programs that do not take 4 years to complete, and some of them pay surprisingly well. For example, a welder can bring in some serious bank. Pick something that sounds fun or interesting and get started. After confirming employment prospects, of course. Even better is that some schools have programs that are sponsored by a local employer. These often directly feed into their employment process, or are at least designed to meet their requirements. Another place to look is the various unions. They may have helper positions, low to no skill, that may pay higher than Walmart and offer on-the-job training. It may pay off. It may not. Either way, it's worth the time to inquire. I was in a similar position once. I was a college dropout with no skills and found myself locked into minimum wage purgatory. I wasn't in fantastic shape either. My way out was military service. For someone with no life skills and no education, the military is a very good thing to consider. From day one, your housing, food, and medical needs are met. This is huge. Currently, the monthly pay for an E1, the lowest of the enlisted grades, private, seaman, airman, is $1,833.30 a month. That doesn't sound good at all until you consider the fact that this is all pretty much disposable income. This is money in your pocket after housing, food, and medical insurance are met. There are some military-related expenses that do come up, such as uniforms after the initial issue, and a few other minor odds and ends, but for the overwhelming majority of the time, that entire paycheck is yours to play with. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to have nearly $2,000 in your pocket after expenses as a civilian? Spoiler, it's very difficult. And it only gets better from there. I was medically discharged. Still angry about that. As an E5 with over 3 years of service. Today, I would be paid $2,920 a month. Plus additional incentives. Again, remember that this is after housing, food, and medical. It was more than a couple of years after discharge that I was back in that position. It was less pay back when I served, but it would be similar purchasing power. Even today and for the rest of my life, all of my medical needs are provided for by the VA. That's not too shabby. I get sick and I just head over to the VA and get treated for free. One visit can set you back thousands. Another benefit, and definitely a mixed blessing, is that they provide basic life skill training. Whether you want it or not, you will clean up your room. You will make your bed. You will groom yourself and dress professionally. You will get in shape. You may hate it at the time, but after getting it drilled into you, even after you start living off base or become a civilian, your more relaxed standards will still be more than adequate. Probably. On top of all of this, you will be getting job training. When you first enlist, you will be able to pick a job based on your test scores. This will be the trade you will work in the military. Some of these can directly transfer to the civilian world. In my case it did. Even if it doesn't, the VA bill will go a long way towards a technical or academic degree once you get out. You don't have to be in perfect shape to join. That's what boot camp is for. Some branches even have a fit camp that you may be placed into before basic training if you need to get in shape for basic training. At least the Army does. Or did. The physical entrance requirements are surprisingly low. Of course, the less fit you are, the more you will suffer as you get forced to get into shape. I didn't like who I was when I first joined, but the first time I could look in the mirror and smile at what was looking back was when I wore a uniform. The military, in the US, is one of the only ways you can re-roll your character, IRL. There is an old saying that in the military, you get out what you put in. If you actually put forth the effort, you can get a lot out of the deal. If you do the bare minimum, you aren't. Some people thrive. Other people have a bad time of it. If you really want to change your life and willing to do what it takes, the military is a good deal and a fantastic way out. When I became a civilian, I just tossed my uniforms in the garbage and clocked into my first job. I had a very secure and nice paying career doing something I loved to do. That was thanks to Uncle Sam. He's a bastard, but he did okay by me. There is also a hidden perk to being a veteran. There are professional recruiting firms, headhunters, who specialize in the outplacement of vets. They already know how to translate your rating or MOS into the right buzzwords and already have a contact list of employers who like to hire veterans. This is huge and something you can utilize over your entire career. I got my first job and several others from those guys. It isn't for anyone. I meant everyone, but the typo or Freudian slip was too funny to edit out. But for someone with no education, no life skills, and no prospects, it's something to seriously consider. If nothing else, you will have 3 hots and a cot, and medical care while you figure out what to do next, and the VA bill for when you do. You can also retire after 20 years. This means that someone joining at 18 can retire at only 38, or someone in their 20s can retire in their 40s if you make a career of the military. There are a lot of details and ins and outs to that are beyond the scope of this ever-lengthening essay, but a quick Google will provide them. Some people do actually fully retire and have the rest of their lives to do with as they please. This usually requires some planning and investment, but people do it. For most, the now regular for the rest of your life income isn't quite enough for the lifestyle they want to live, and they are used to working. These people now have a significant amount of extra income along with the civilian job they can get. After a 20-year-long resume and all of the skills they learned in the military, they probably won't be flipping burgers, but even if they do, they are bringing in roughly half of their base pay when they retired on top of their paycheck. Again, there are a lot of details. Google is your friend. I just happened to like the military. After I got used to it, and was set on being a lifer, unfortunately, my body disagreed and I found myself medically retired far too early. While not able to serve in the military, I was quite able to work and took my skills and training provided for free. Monetarily, I paid for them in other ways, and had a very nice career. Even now, My medical care is free and will be for life. Yeah. The VA is the VA, but most who really complain about it have never had civilian health insurance. The VA is a hell of a lot better than a PPO. Trust me, and you won't get blindsided by a huge medical bill when you thought you were covered. There are ways you can wind up getting stuck with a bill, but again, beyond the scope of this essay, and they are easily researched. I'm biased, of course, but it sounds like the military might be something you may want to consider. You need like 3 things for a job in America. Well, 4. Documentation. Birth cert, gets photo ID, proves legal work status, social sec card, payments, taxes, GVT ID, #bank account, direct deposit, check cashing, transportation. Well, yeah. As for being obese and whatever, are you so large you can't physically work? Or just large? They can't discriminate against weight or size, but they 100% will if you can't actually do the work. Fast food is usually a tight environment, so look for stocking, WS rehouse jobs, grocery stores, Fed, X, Ups, Costco. Stay away from Amazon. Changing you will increase your chances, including exercising to get fit, dieting to lose weight, and studying to get qualifications. Temp agency will get you to work ASAP. Sometimes it can lead to permanent employment. You will probably need to get ID to get any job though. It sounds like you may have some anxiety and depression. It appears you are afraid of changing things. It might be a good idea for you to find someone to talk to, a therapist perhaps, and before you say you can't because of the cost, there are lots of places that provide either free or scaled services. Since I don't know where you live, that is something you might have to do for yourself. As an alternative, find one thing that bothers you to do, and do it each day. Positive things. Not eating hot peppers or putting yourself at risk. If it bothers you to go to the DMV to get an ID, do a few trial runs other places before you go. If you can't do it for a few days, that's okay. Just don't give up. Progress is more important than meeting the goal. In addition to getting an ID, you might want to do a high school equivalency program. Most of the time, they are self-paced and have flexible schedules. Getting a GED would be another really big step. Get an ID, GED, and at least make an effort to talk to people. Unfortunately, there's no shortcut to fix this.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.